What's happening, Steeler Nation? Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel basement. Don't have much for you guys tonight. I have a couple things to talk about, same topic. We're going to talk a little bit about Mike Tomlin, but I think the way I want to start off tonight's show is with some crowd participation. I want to ask you guys if there's anything you would like me to address. Anything you would like me to address, because like I said, there's not a whole lot going on right now in terms of news. Let me just check again on some of the websites that we all like to visit in regards to the Steelers. Nothing really standing out, but I have a couple things, 2 or 3 things that I'm going to talk about when it comes to Mike Tomlin, and I'll get to that here in just a moment. So it probably won't be too long of a show. You know, guys, this time of the year with not so much information going on, and again, with me not actually having the phone queue set up that I want, I'm still searching. I am still searching for something that worked similar to Blog Talk Radio. Until I find that, we'll just continue doing it this way. Hey, maybe I'll start doing an email, thing where if you want your question or something answered or, things of that nature, maybe you send an email until we get the phone back up and running. But outside of that, let's say hello to a few early commenters. What's going on to my man, Mark Cunningham in the building. The lovely Lanisha is in the building. Hello, Lanisha. Fellas, make sure you spend your time, take the time to say hello to our lovely ladies of Steeler Nation, Lanisha being one of the ring leaders there. Hello, Lanisha, good to see you. Ron, Crazy Ron Gaming is in the building. Steeler Cards in the building. Jack Bauer in the building. CT Pittman in the building. What's good, man? Elisa Shepard. Hello, Elisa. Elisa Shepard, again, another one of our lovely ladies of Steeler Nation. Hello, Elisa. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. Good to see you, like always. Who else we got up in here, man? Christopher West. My good brother Kenyon in the building. Who else is up in here, man? Few late nights in the building. And that is about it as of now in terms of the early commenters. So let me throw it at you guys really quick, man. Is there anything that you would like me to address or a question that you might have before I get into my topic? It's really just one topic tonight, guys, but I'm going to hit a few different sections of the topic. But the main topic tonight is I need to have a conversation with Mike Tomlin, really. And, I say it theoretically, but I'm going to speak from the standpoint of if I had the ability to speak to Mike Tomlin, these are some of the questions I just would have. And I will get to that. But let me see if y'all got anything, man. Steeler Card says it feels like the team has no direction. Does feel a little bit bleak, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm only going to wait a few minutes, guys. If not, I'm just going to dive right into my topics, man, and we'll let things unfold the way they shall unfold. Few Late Night says, honestly, no, laugh out loud. I mean, I did see that Dan Moore and James Daniels are not coming back. That is a good one. That's a good one, and I forgot to actually put that as a topic that I wanted to get in. So thank you, Few Late Nights. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Hold on. Kenyon is talking about a birthday. Oh, okay, yep, I know Mark had his birthday. Same question I have for you as well, Mark. Hope you did enjoy your birthday, man. I hope you did something special. It ain't got to be nothing extravagant. Whatever you felt was special to you, even if that meant you just sitting at home and chilling. Whatever you felt was special to you, I hope you had a great one, man. I really do hope you did. All right, so let's talk about that really quick, man, before we dissect the Mike Tomlin stuff that I want to get into. Very good question. Observation. It looks like, per reporters, again, insiders and reporters, that the Steelers are going to let Dan Moore walk, as well as James Daniels. Now, this is a very interesting topic. Listen, Dan Moore, I think most of us are not too upset about that, right? And again, this is not a disrespect to Dan Moore. I think Dan Moore, given the fact where Dan Moore was drafted, I want everybody to remember that, right? Sometimes you have later round, offensive linemen that perk up and do things, but when you're talking about a tackle, whether that be right or especially left tackle, most of the time the good ones are drafted high. Again, I'm sure if we look through the history, some of you guys might recall it. I'm sure there's some later round guys that may have turned out. Listen, Villanueva, okay? If I remember correctly, Villanueva was an undrafted guy, and we ended up turning him to offense and making him a pretty decent left tackle. But my point is, a lot of times these elite tackles, particularly on the left side, blind side, if you will, if it's the right-hand quarterback, these dudes are drafted high, right? Dan Moore was not drafted high. If you guys remember, he was a 4th-round pick. Oh, hold on, guys. Hold on. We have to stop for a moment and appreciate the Wonder Bread from Ron. I appreciate that, my good brother. Round of applause. Oh, man. Hey, he says, we are screwed, DDD, till Tomlin is gone. We are screwed until Tomlin is gone. And I think there's a little bit of a typo, but that's why it has that DDD right there. But listen, Rod, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Hard to argue that. It's hard to argue that. Just being honest. I don't know if everybody would go as far as saying that we're screwed, but I could understand the sentiment of feeling like not much will change. And I'll get to that too. I'm going to talk about that as well. So stay tuned. Yeah, man, Dan Moore, 4th-round pick, guys. And listen, we got lucky and the kid played okay. Let's be honest. If we assess Dan Moore's full career with the Steelers, he was up and down. He had some solid moments. He had some not so solid moments. He was thrown in the fire relatively early, right? Which also reminds me, that's something else that I would like to ask to Mike Tomlin and others. Why won't we just do that, with Broderick Jones, right? Regardless of what we feel about Broderick Jones, some people are not as high on him anymore because of his past season. He started to perk up in his first season playing right tackle. Last year, we thought we would get this, similar, and he had kind of an up and down season. Wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. But we know Fautanu was supposed to be the right tackle. Fautanu was actually getting looks ahead of Broderick Jones at right tackle. And everybody would assume, since the Steelers went in this direction in 2 years, getting tackles early, that would be your new pair of tackles. Cool. But it does seem like they kind of hesitated a little bit with Broderick Jones. I understand it because you have Dan Moore already, but I do feel like the Steelers sometimes need to pull the trigger a little earlier. If you drafted a guy to be your would-be left tackle, this is just my opinion, folks. Just my opinion. I don't know if Broderick Jones is going to pan out at left tackle. I can't say. But what I would say is what I would love for the Steelers to do, and Mike Tomlin, this is a part of my early conversation with Mike Tomlin if I were to have one with him. I don't always like the fact that it seems like we wait until we think guys are ready, if you will. I don't want to just outright say ready because, of course, you want to wait until they're ready. But I think the Steelers sometimes take too long to see what they have in their investment. Right? You draft a guy in the first round, put him out there. Let him straight up compete with Dan Moore. Put him out there, see what we got. Take more chances. That's just my opinion. I think we do that a little too much, man, with position guys. Obviously quarterback, it was the same thing with Kenny Pickett, but you kind of would expect that, with a kind of raw. He was the best of the crop in that season for the college, the draft picks, but maybe not all the way ready, but it's still like we wait and wait and wait. And again, Kenny Pickett got in earlier than expected because of Mitch Trubisky. But this is what I'm saying. If you got Mitch Trubisky, why not just try the rookie out the gate? Why not take more shots and take more chances? That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Some people might disagree with that, but I feel like the Steelers wait too long to try. They just wait a little too long to try. Hold on, guys. We got another donation here, but I don't think the donation... Hold on, give me a second, guys. I don't think you guys are hearing it. Y'all let me know. Are you hearing the alert? Are you guys hearing the alert when it comes on? I'm not hearing it on my side, but hopefully you guys are hearing it. But round of applause. I appreciate the Wonder Bread from the infamous Tim. No sound on the alert. Somebody said yes. 2 people said no. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why the sound is not... Give me a second. Let me see if I can fix it, perhaps. Hold on. Control audio via OBS. Okay. Maybe we have to click that on. So we'll see if it comes on this next time. But anyway, he says, tired of rentals and girlfriends. I want a wife at quarterback. I'm with you, brother. I am absolutely with you. I'm tired of it as well. I really am tired of it as well. Sucks. It really sucks, man. We have to use your analogy, man, we have to be willing to try the girlfriend out and see if she's going to become a fiance and then from there become a wife. And the Steelers just seem to be stuck in the mud with certain things, man. Like, listen, you get a young guy, right? You get a Russell Wilson and you get a Justin Fields. Why don't we ever just go with the young guy and have the other guy there for backup? You understand what I'm saying? If Justin Fields starts to crumble and crash, then you have Russell come in. But I just didn't like how... I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. These are all questions that I have for Mike Tomlin. But anyway, before I get there, guys, yes, I just want to comment on that again. James Daniels and Dan Moore is a little more interesting than you would think. Like I said, at the tackle spot, you would basically assume that we kind of have the tackles there, and maybe you get another tackle later on, get a guy in free agency to be your swing or your backup. It's definitely time to see these 2 tackles and give it a shot, man. See if Broderick Jones can be something, or do you prefer to keep Broderick on the right side and you're going to put Fautanu at the left side? Because this kid played both in college. So it's time to see if that experiment is going to work. So I am not upset at Dan Moore potentially not returning. The James Daniels one is interesting, though, because now that just basically seems like, to me, because James was the right guard, right? So it sounds like they are pretty happy with Mason McCormick. I don't think Mason McCormick did a bad job. Again, rookie guy. Again, a later round draft pick, but the kid came in and played pretty well. Here's another thing that you got to look at potentially. The Pittsburgh Steelers could be in a situation where they've gotten young on the offensive line. If I'm not mistaken, I think Siamalu is still under contract, but he's your elder statesman, right, at left guard. But look at the youth. You got Broderick Jones, Fautanu, Zach Frazier, and Mason McCormick. Both of those 2 guys played relatively well last season. Frazier played really well. McCormick played not as good as Frazier, but played decent. So look at that youth. So that potential of the Steelers rebuilding their offensive line and getting young and more, spry and agile could be in play right now. Again, if you're not bringing back James Daniels either. So I'm not upset with that, because one thing the Steelers have to do is reset. We have to go through the official rebuild period. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk to Mike Tomlin here in a moment. But Not upset about that. So let's get to it, guys. I have so much I want to say about Mike Tomlin, and I'm just going to run through these things, man, and I'll ask you guys at the end if you have anything else you would love to ask him. I'm freestyling. I don't have anything written down. If you look at the comments, I mean, in the description, you see I only have that one thing that just says conversation with Mike Tomlin. I'm freestyling off the top of the head as far as the order. Let's start with order number one. I kind of already talked about it, but Mike Tomlin, man, if I could have a conversation with you, a real conversation, a mature conversation, not a biased conversation or over-biased conversation, meaning feeling like the Steelers are supposed to win every game and blow everybody out and win the Super Bowl every year and all of that. No, I wouldn't have that conversation, but I would have a real mature conversation, and there's a couple of things that I would ask. One would be, why are we so hesitant to take a shot with investments? I just talked about that a few moments ago, but for some of you guys who missed it, this is what I'm saying. You draft guys in the first round. You move up even. A Broderick Jones. I understand sometimes you draft guys for the future, but let's not forget, when we drafted Broderick Jones, there was 2 years left. 2 seasons left for Dan Moore. Last season and then this past season. When I say last season, I'm talking about 23-24. But also the 24-25 season. Because remember, we got Broderick Jones 2 drafts ago. So you draft this dude in the first round. Usually when you do that, you're looking to play him. I don't know all the ins and outs as far as what happened in practice and what didn't happen, but I feel like what we don't do in Pittsburgh is we don't play the guys that we drafted early. We've started to do that a little bit in certain areas. You know, you think about your TJ Watts of the world when he came in as a rookie. You think about even like George Pickens. So we have started to do it a little more. Even think about guys like Jaylen Warren getting more burn in his rookie year. But if you look at it largely in the Mike Tomlin era, a lot of times it seems like we just wait and wait and wait. You know, you were forced, Mike T, to throw in Kenny Pickett behind Mitch Trubisky. But this is what I'm saying. If Mitch Trubisky is the guy that you're going to run with, and then you draft a first-round guy, just put the first rounder in there so you can see what you got early. And I know he ended up getting in the game week 5 or whatever, but what I'm saying is, why don't the Steelers ever take a chance sometimes and just say, all right, this is what we're doing. We're spending our first-round pick on this guy, and he's going to start. And then if he plays horribly, he plays horribly, and it is what it is. But it seems like we're always coddling instead of just giving it a shot. A lot of these other teams around the league, they let their guys play. We did it with Joey Porter Jr. But what I'm saying is I want to see more of that, because at this point, the Steelers need to see what they have. You have to go through that real rebuild period, Mike T. We're always in this mentality of win now, and I get it, but look around the league. Look at these teams who are getting to the Super Bowl and going far in the playoffs. They had to build it. They didn't just plug and play. The only team that kind of plugged and played is, if I'm not mistaken, y'all hold me to this, is the Detroit Lions. Am I right or am I wrong? I might be missing a quarterback there, but if I'm not mistaken, not just at the quarterback position, but infusing youth, all of the playoff teams did that, and they had to build up to a point. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud, all of these guys, man. Jordan Love. And I'm just naming quarterbacks, but if you look at those teams and you would say not only did they get quarterbacks, they started playing and infusing guys early. I'm just saying. I think the only one that was plug and play was Jared Goff. because Jared Goff had been in the league for a little bit and got the Rams to the Super Bowl. Then, the Rams didn't do so much. They got traded, and now, boom. And he's still young, but other than that, all of these other teams, including the Lions, outside of Goff, they started to build the team again. Granted, I understand draft position. I get it. But I'm just saying the Steelers need to go through that. Oh, yeah. And the Rams, Matthew Stafford, plug and play. But you can kind of swap those two out, like the Lions and the Rams. But you're right. But you see what I'm saying? You look around that. Look what the Rams ended up having to do. They kind of had to start fresh after. Well, I will say this. The Rams did go out there and buy themselves a Super Bowl. They did. Well, some of the older talent. It could happen from time to time, but it's not happening in Pittsburgh, it don't seem. It doesn't seem that the Band-Aid is going to work for us or the patchwork is going to work for the Steelers. The Steelers need to take time to totally rebuild. That's why I'm not upset at what we're hearing about the offensive line. You're rebuilding. You got Joey Porter Jr. He's going into his third season. Hopefully he can get better, but you got to continue to do that. You got to continue to get youthful in the cornerback position. No shot at Dante Jackson. I think Dante Jackson did what he needed to do, but you got to start looking for that next guy behind him or the next guy to sit beside Joey Porter Jr. Got to continue to get young. You're doing it a little bit on the defensive, I won't say line, I would say edge rush. You get Herbig behind TJ and Highsmith. You get guys like Benton behind Cam Hayward. But you got to keep doing that. And I love the fact that we're starting to do that now a little bit on the offensive side, but it has to start also with quarterback. The leader of the team. Mike Tomlin, this is the one thing I didn't always understand either with this. You get Justin Fields and you get Russell Wilson on the cheap. I get it. Not bad. Got a couple options here. But I would love for us to have the mentality of, let's start with the young buck first. Some people are going to say, well, they did. Yes, they did, but only because Russ wasn't healthy. And as soon as Russ got healthy, he's back. Justin Fields was 4-2. Over 1,100 yards passing, rushing touchdowns. Now, granted, I'll be the first to admit, yes, I do believe that Russell Wilson elevated the offense in terms of throwing the ball down the field. But after about 5 games, the jury's out now. Teams know what we're going to do. But again, that goes back to that mentality of just wanting to see if we could plug in and win now. No, we can't do that. We have to follow the blueprint of our division. Get you a young stud and see if you can turn this guy into a franchise quarterback. That's what you have to do. With the exception of Cleveland, even though I would say even Cleveland tried to go get the young stud, it's just unfortunately after him trying to be a stud in other areas, he hasn't quite panned out, whether it's his play or being injured. But even they went and got Deshaun Watson. But Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, come on, man. No disrespect, but Russell Wilson can't be the guy. And I'm saying that now, Mike Tomlin, as far as bringing him back. Okay, if you tried it last season, cool. Whatever decision you made then, cool. But, sir, you cannot go back into this season and re-sign Russell Wilson. And let me explain to you why. Not only is Russell Wilson an older guy, it's not that I don't think he can still play, but we know his offense, his capability, and what he likes to do is limited. We know what he wants to do. But outside of that, Art Rooney II said, our attempt will be to re-sign one of these guys, probably not both. So that would mean that you're choosing Russell Wilson over Justin Fields, and I think that is a huge mistake. Only because I think there is tread left on those tires. A lot of tread, actually, on Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields will only get better. I do not know his ceiling. I don't know his ceiling. But I'm saying, if you can get a kid that wants to be there, that's not going to cost what the rest of the quarterbacks cost, take a chance. Because then you can always draft a quarterback in later rounds. You can always draft a quarterback next season. You gotta have that moment of taking a chance with young talent. Justin Fields showed you how the Pittsburgh Steelers could win football games. Let me explain. Justin Fields, once we started cooking a little bit, he's going to allow you more opportunity to keep the chains moving. He's going to allow you more opportunity to do what you want to do and run the football, because now you can include him in that. Now he's a threat, a dual threat. He's going to allow you to possess the football and win the possession game. Russell Wilson, on the other hand, not so much. Again, when Russ was doing his thing, yes, he was cooking, but you guys heard me say, how long are we going to be able to do this? Because right around I'll say week 14-ish, 13, 14, you started seeing, like, okay, if they take this away, we're struggling. Gotta get a guy that is a mobile QB. And when I'm talking about planned runner, zone read, all these type of things, if you're going to be a run-first offense. Look at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I know it's Derrick Henry, it's Lamar Jackson. I'm not comparing apples to apples. I'm just saying, if Mike T, if your philosophy is still going to be run, you might as well get you a Lamar Jackson-esque type of player. It only makes sense. In today's NFL, I'm not sure we're going to be able to just run when we have a pocket passer back there, or a guy that's not as comfortable in the pocket. Russell Wilson. So that would be my first conversation with Mike Tomlin if I could have it. Listen, man, you got to be willing to just throw them noodles up against the wall and see which one stick. Go with youth. Go with upside. Here's the other conversation I would love to have. It has been reported by Mr. Kaboli that Mike Tomlin has publicly said, the reason why he shied away from throwing the ball to the middle of the field. He's basically said, there's more risk that can happen when you do that. Mike Tomlin, I have to say this to you. There was once a guy on your staff, if I remember correctly. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I think Bruce Arians had a stint with Tomlin as well, and not just Cowher. Am I correct with that, guys? Am I correct with that? And yeah, like you guys are saying, he always says we're not going to live in our fears, and we're going to play to win. And sometimes we've seen him kind of do that. But statements like that, you living in your fears. Okay, Rod says yes. So let me continue to say, Mike Tomlin, you had a guy on your staff that had that famous phrase of no risk it, no biscuit. Coincidentally, one of Justin Fields' two best throws of the season was in the middle of the field. You guys remember that long touchdown? I want to say that was against the Raiders, right? To Calvin Austin, where he fired that thing across the middle, and went right in there, right on the money. And Calvin Austin housed that thing with 70-plus yards. Y'all remember that? Where did he catch that ball? Oh, Chargers. Might have been the Chargers. Yeah, I can't remember if it was the Raiders or the Chargers. So, I remember things, but I don't always remember the whole game. Okay, it was the Chargers. Appreciate y'all, man. See, this is why we family. Appreciate y'all correcting me on that. You know why I said Raiders? Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't Calvin Austin have that long touchdown pass the season before last against the Raiders, right? Maybe that's why I thought Raiders. But yeah, you guys are right. You guys are right. I think it was against the Chargers. Late in the game. I mean, Justin Fields right in there. Middle of the field. Justin Fields' second best throw of the season didn't count. Y'all remember that throw when Justin Fields rolled to his right on the run and threw that thing down the field? Think it was to GP. Boy, do y'all remember how beautiful that pass was? The only reason why I'm mentioning that pass is I'm just saying. That boy had those were his two best throws of the season. One counted and one didn't. But the point I'm making is that one to Calvin Austin. It's in the middle of the field. And look what happened, Mike. You got a guy that runs 4.3 speed catching that thing on a slant in the middle of the field. He's out of there. Who catching him? Anybody that knows football, anybody in this chat that knows football, it is a beautiful thing when you can beat a guy one-on-one and catch a slant right here in the middle of the field. A lot of times, that's a house call if you get the right look. And the safety don't play the right angle, or the safety is not even there, or he missed, or he bites and takes the wrong look trying to come up. When you can hit a guy in stride on a slant against the right coverage, it is big play. I mean, that is the definition of big play. That is one of the easiest big plays if you get the right look. Here's another one for you, Mike T. Because both of these went for a lot of yards. I recall 2023 season. I was actually in Baltimore watching this game at a Baltimore bar. We were having dinner with friends, and they got the game on TV. It was a Saturday night game against the Bengals. And one Mason Rudolph drops back, throws a strike left to right. George Pickens catches it in the middle of the field, and he takes it however many yards. Y'all remember that one? Middle of the field. I'll give you another one. Y'all remember that throw in preseason by one Kenneth Pickett to Pat Fryermuth down the middle of the seam for a touchdown? And we all was saying, ooh, did we see a little anticipation from Kenny Pickett? Where was that? Middle of the field. So, Mike Tomlin, my question is I understand you want to be conservative and not have turnovers, but, sir, it's a reason why people attack the middle of the field, because it's vulnerable a lot if you're caught in the wrong coverage, if you don't get the right depth, if your quarterback looks the safety off, if you get the right matchup, slot corner against a linebacker, or a linebacker dropping back into his zone, but again, linebackers in zone are watching the ball. They don't really pay attention to who's behind them. You throw that ball right over them. You would think we wouldn't be so afraid to do that because people attack the middle of the field on the Steelers all the time. Most recently, I happened to see it in person when, what's my little man named? Kyler Murray was hitting that tight end McBride all game. When the 2-10 Cardinals came in there and beat us. How many times did they take advantage of McBride down the middle of the field? You cannot be afraid. And I don't know if you're afraid. I'm just saying you can't have that mentality, Mike. You can't. You can't be saying that you don't want to take shots down the middle of the field because of risk of turnover. You just can't. Donation. Hold on, guys. We got Wonder Bread, and I appreciate your CT Pittman. Round of applause. Thank you, brother. He says, I'm just going to wait and see what the Steelers do. Depending on who they get for QB will tell me what I need to know and the direction they choose him. Don't think I could disagree with that. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm going to say it right now, Mike Tomlin, if you're listening. Listen, I think it's appropriate for me to be saying this because I am a fan of yours. Think you're a great coach, man. I do. Some people don't disagree with me. I think Mike Tomlin is a great football coach, great leader of men. I think Mike Tomlin is knowledgeable of football, contrary to what other people would think. I think you have done a great job as the Steelers head coach, winning the Super Bowl, getting to another, keeping the Steelers relevant. I get all of that. But I'm going to tell you right now, if in fact Russell Wilson is re-signed as the Steelers quarterback, I will not be happy about that. That is me being a Russell Wilson fan. Again, I have to always say it for those of you guys who are new to the channel. I've always loved Russell Wilson's game. I root for the underdog. They always said he was undersized. This guy came in early and started balling. When he's out, when Russell Wilson is outside the pocket, he's extending plays, not the same, but, it kind of give you that Ben Roethlisberger. Remember when you was like, oh, what's about to happen? Russell Wilson had a little bit of that magic too. With the spin out, he's outside of that pocket. He was deadly. One of the best moon balls you'll ever see and accurate. However, that is not what I want to take into the 2025 season because we saw the limitation. You would be telling me a lot if Russell Wilson is re-signed as opposed to Justin Fields. And that would be given that, let's say both guys want to return and we choose Russell Wilson. I'm not going to like that. Of course, I'll still be a fan, still root for the team, will still root for you. But I'm not going to be happy about that. Just not. Here's another thing. Can we get our DBs, particularly our cornerbacks, to be more physical on the outside? I understand maybe we don't have the personnel. I get it. But even when we've somewhat had the personnel, we still don't do it. We still play way too far off the ball in certain situations. Yes, I understand football. I know you cannot run zone every play. I know you cannot run zone every single play, at least if you don't want to get predictable. I get it. But can we sometimes do something different on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2? Can we do something other than lining up 8-9 yards away from the receiver and immediately allowing him to get the inside position and it's a quick slant? I just talked about how the quick slant is prime for a big play, and people do that to us all the time. I just want to have a serious conversation to understand the logic. Again, I'm sure Mike Tomlin knows more football than I ever known. And I happen to pride myself on knowing some football. But this man has been a head coach in the league, a head coach for now 18 years. He knows football. And it's not the problem, Mike Tomlin, that you know football. It's the philosophy. I said this a few weeks ago. My fear for the Pittsburgh Steelers is that your philosophy is not going to change, and it has to. The game is different. And The only way that the philosophy is going to work is that you got a dynamite roster. Side note, you have a dynamite roster like my son here playing 2K basketball, since the All-Star break. People have created these celebrities, He's 11. He's at that age, he built the team where he put Duke Dennis on his team and Kai Cenat and Lil Wayne and Drewski and, all these people, right? Man, they all 99 overalls. So he keeps telling me, man, look at how much he's scoring. Look at what he could do. It's a 99 overall Shaq with A+ ability on 3-pointers. And he's talking about, I'm killing the computer. Da, 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 da. I'm like, yeah, of course you are. Because you have a team full of 99 that are maxed out. So my analogy there to Mike Tomlin would be, unless you get a team full of 99s, the best offensive lineman in the league that block anybody, don't matter whether they blitzing or not. It don't matter if we in jumbo and they got 9 in the box and we just can run the rock. Unless you get that, the current philosophy of Arthur Smith's go big, 13, 12, 22 personnel and just run out a single back. Unless we get the roster that can fully execute that plan, and on defense we can snuff the run out every play, it's going to be hard to just dominate like that. It's amazing that the Steelers have gone as far as they did last season playing like that. With the offense that was, again, we had a few games where the offense was getting it going, but guys, it's just like a boxing match. When the switch up happened with Russell Wilson, we looked fresh and new. Teams weren't quite ready for what we were going to do. But like I said, by the time Russell Wilson had about his 5th game, the blueprint was there. And you saw it against Ravens, Eagles, Chiefs, Bengals. It seemed like all 4 of them played us the same way. So that's my rant for the night, I think, man. There's reports that Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff are gonna meet. I think it was gonna be today or whatever to discuss the schemes. Dog, like I said, I'm a fan, Mike T, but from what I'm seeing, unless they completely rework the scheme with a different approach or have this dynamite roster, I don't think much is going to change, especially if Russell Wilson is at the helm. Got to have another receiver that contributes regularly, meaning a threat regularly. Cannot allow people to just key on George Pickens and take the deep shot away from us. Just sit back and play over the top and key on him. Cannot do that. You're going to have to get some more production. You got to get a legit number 2. Hey, if the Deebo Samuels trade happens, we'll see. And let's not forget Roman. Hopefully Roman Wilson can do something. Hey, even Calvin Austin stepped up in spots this year, but we need more as far as we need more from a 1 and 2, right? To open up guys like Calvin Austin. But we got to see something different, man. We just have to. I do not think we're going to be able to come in here with the same philosophy again, offensively and defensively. We got to try something new. And you can keep some of your core, but bring your whole toolbox. I'm cool with you having your go-to. Some people use, a pair of pliers for everything. Some people will use a flathead screwdriver for a Phillips screwdriver, or a flat screw. They just turn the corner and they'll use the same screwdriver no matter what the screw is. But sometimes you need that precise Phillips head to get in there. Sometimes you got to pull out the ratchet. And I ain't talking about the ratchet in the streets. Talking about the ratchet in the toolbox. mean, sometimes you got to pull out the other ratchet too. But guys, sometimes you got to use the ratchet set, man. You got to find the right one. Sometimes you got to use, vice grips, not your traditional pliers. Sometimes you got to use the drill. Sometimes you got to use, the just the right drill bit. Sometimes you got to use that little piece, that little Allen wrench piece, because some screws have that on it. You got to use your whole toolbox, sir. So even if we going to have this same philosophy and all of that, that discussion better include using more tools out of that toolbox. Especially if Russell Wilson returns as a quarterback. Guys, I really don't want that to happen, man. I don't have the answer tonight as far as should they draft this guy or that guy. How I'm feeling tonight, and I'll close with this, and I'll give you guys some time. How I feel right now is we choose Justin Fields over Russell Wilson, maybe bring in a vet to back him up. And hey, if you want to draft a guy in the mid-rounds to see what you can get out of him, cool. Because other than that, I don't see us getting one of the top projected quarterbacks. Don't see that happening. That would be my only plan as of today. If I had to choose right now, who am I taking, Russell or Justin Fields? Just rock out with Justin Fields and see what you get out of him, man. See what you can get out of him when he knows he's the starter. And let that be that. Because then there's rumors also saying that, Fields might be interested in the Jets. He might be. But I probably missed some stuff, guys, but that would be, man, some of the things that I would, if I could have a conversation with Mike Tomlin, that's what I would talk about. And really try to get some answers and understanding, man. Like, cannot not take shots downfield, middle of the field, down the seam because you're worrying about turnovers. You wouldn't be so worried about turnovers, I guess, if you had, I can't even say a decent quarterback. Russell Wilson is a good quarterback, but again, the knock on Russell Wilson is he wouldn't attack the middle of the field. So, but that's all I got. What y'all got? Malvo says, I'm not making any sense. That's one man's opinion, but give me a little more substance to that. What, in your opinion, of what I'm saying is not making sense? Let's have a debate. What else y'all got? Okay, you said, why would I say get a vet to back up Fields? He is a vet if we need a backup for him. Okay, if you don't understand what I mean by that, then there's nothing to talk about. If you don't clearly understand what I'm saying when I say get a veteran to back up Fields, if that threw you for a loop or if that's making you say I'm not making sense, we're never gonna agree because I don't know how you don't clearly understand what I'm saying there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, Malvo. So we'll leave it at that. Said you've been a coach yourself. Okay, well, again, let me just say it for the people in the back. When I say get a vet, I'm talking about another veteran. Just like we had three veterans on the team this year at quarterback, right? So I'm saying you most likely will have three quarterbacks. You keep Justin Fields, you bring in another vet as a backup, and whoever else, whether that be a draft pick, UDFA. That's all I'm saying, sir. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm sorry if that didn't make sense, but if anybody else didn't understand what I was saying there, please speak up. If I'm not making sense, I'm all for being corrected, but I thought it was clear what I was saying. But whatever. What else y'all got? My man Lagoon, what's happening, brother? How you doing, man? I hope you are well. If I'm not mistaken, you out of the country or something like that, right? Wasn't you away for a long, long time? I can't remember if you came back or not, but I know it's been hard for you to catch us live. But Lagoon says, we need to keep Phil. Sorry, Russ. Gots to go. And yes, we need a solid vet backup. There it is. That's what I was saying, Lagoon. But, man, it's good to see you, man. Outside of football, it's good to hear from you, man. I'm glad to hear that you are well. Whether you guys believe that or not, you know, I've grown accustomed to all of you guys and gals who comment in the chat. You know, it's almost like I know y'all personally. So I remember when I haven't seen you in a while. So when I say it's good to see you, I'm genuinely happy to see some of you, especially Lagoon, especially people like Debbie, you know, those who go away for a while. Haven't heard from my girl Destiny in a while. Can't wait to see Destiny back, you know, because again, in this crazy world we live in, I just hope and wish all of us health and wealth, you know what I mean? Making sure we all are good. Oh Lord, Malvo, let's just agree to disagree, brother. If you got that out of what I said, then like I said, I don't know. We're just not seeing eye to eye, and that's cool. In no way, shape, or form did I not say Russ was solid. But again, Art Rooney said we're not gonna keep both. This is the simply a one of the other situation. I would prefer to go with the youth guy. I love Russell Wilson. I've said that repeatedly. But again, if you missed all of that, then let's do one of these. We just are not agreeing tonight. So agree to disagree. What else y'all got? Doubleback says, if our trench is not tending to, we a stalemate. Absolutely. 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 Trenches matters, man. So I am interested to see how this offensive line will shake out, man, if both Dan Moore and James Daniels is not in the lineup. Because like I said, that would mean that Fautanu, or they have moved Broderick over to the left side. And then again, you got Mason McCormick and Zach Frazier. So I'm cool with the youth. Again, I'm one of the fans, guys, that understand that our beloved Steelers might have to dip a little bit to get better. It's just the truth. That's part of the reason why we get so upset every year. Because we're kept in the talk, because our team has been able to hover right over 500 or at 500 or get into the playoffs, it gives us that false sense of hope. You understand what I'm saying? And we have not gone through that severe dip and rebuild. You know, even the Ravens in this stint had won a 5-11 season. We haven't done that. So I think it is definitely time for that, right? So where some people would be like, no, we can't do that. Why not? Why not put Fautanu, Jones, McCormick, Frazier, and whoever else is going to be left guard out there and let it rock? Let's see if you can get this young offensive line to gel. And maybe Broderick Jones ain't it, but until we put him at the spot that he was intended to play, we don't know, you know, and we can't be afraid to try that. We got to stop doing the Band-Aid approach. JJ Walker, what's up, man? He says, I don't even understand Tomlin would want to bring back Wilson after what transpired. Rooney as well. Yeah. And again, that's not a knock at Russell Wilson, man. I think anytime you say something like that, people take that as a shot. It ain't a shot at Russell. I'm a Russell fan. But come on, man. I'm tired of he's 36 years old. He'll be 37 in this season. Let's try to build like the rest of these teams have done. Again, look at the common denominator in the playoffs outside of Pittsburgh. Look at the quarterback position. At some point, they drafted those dudes. The young guns, with the exception of the Lions and the Rams, because we know the Stafford and the Stafford and Goff situation, but it still applies. And like I said, a few years back, the Rams went and paid for that Super Bowl. We ain't did that. See? So even if you're going to go get the veteran, you got to stack that team to no end. You know, but I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. What's up, Mr. Cunningham? Cunningham. Mr. Winningham, my bad. What's going on, Mr. Winningham, man? I'm working hard night and day, man, trying to find a real solution for our phone call situation, man, because I miss hearing you. We miss your wisdom, man, and always just saying things from a different perspective. So I can't wait to get that back going. And like I said, for anybody who's curious, I've said it repeatedly, but again, there may be new listeners tonight. When we had Blog Talk Radio, who actually went out of business in January, it was perfect. It had an independent phone number. It had a queue. I could bring people in and out and pause and mute and unmute. And that's what I want. I'm trying to find another program like that where there's an independent phone number. You don't need a sign-in. You don't need an account. This is the reason why I don't go with a Discord or a Zoom or Google Meets. That's why I don't do that, because I just don't prefer those things. They're not as clean. I want something where somebody can pick up the phone and call in and I have a switchboard that I can operate from. Now, if Discord is able to do that, I haven't been able to find that feature in my research. If any of you all have seen that, please send me that information. Because a lot of you guys have said, use Discord. If Discord can function like that, switchboard, where I can screen calls, mute calls, no required login to call or an account to be active, independent phone number. If y'all know how to do that, please send me that information to SimFBallCritic@gmail.com. SimFBallCritic@gmail.com. Please, if you know of anything like that, and I will give you all the credit for finding that program for me. A few more. That's a good point. After high school show says Sam Darnold is not improving the Steelers. I tend to agree with that. I don't think Sam Darnold is the quarterback either that I would want to start to build the franchise around. That's what I'm looking for now. And again, I'm not saying that Justin Fields is the franchise guy, but I think Justin Fields is worth kicking the tires on because of his mobility and the style of play that he could potentially bring to a Tomlin, Arthur Smith led philosophy on offense. They want to run the football. So that's the reason. Let me just explain that. That's why I'm bigger on Justin Fields, because he can be a part of the run game. We saw it. How many touchdowns did that man have in those 6 games with his legs? So if Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith are going to come with the same approach, I would rather a Justin Fields like, where we could kind of mimic some of the things that the Ravens do with their run game, if they're going to keep that approach. Now, if you're telling me they're going to redo the entire scheme and this and that, I don't know. Maybe a Donald type of guy does help. But I think the Steelers are in a situation where they can get a potential decent quarterback, decent to maybe higher than decent. Maybe he can become something on the cheap, cheaper than the rest of these guys, even Russell Wilson, while you have the opportunity to look into the draft for the next year or two if he doesn't work out. That's why I'm so big on that. I think Justin Fields does still have potential. I am not sitting here saying that this guy is going to take the Steelers to the moon. No. I'm just saying I still think there's talent there. The Steelers were able to win games with him. I think you can still develop his talent with him knowing that he is the guy. If not, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. It'll buy you a little bit of time while you search for your next franchise guy. That's all I'm saying. Malvo is saying that Justin Fields is asking for 25 to 30 million. Well, if that's the case, then maybe that's the market. But I don't know if Justin Fields can demand that. Has anybody else seen that? Has Justin Fields said that, or has his agent said that? I don't know if Justin Fields can demand 25 to 30 million dollars. Yeah, he went 4-2, but I don't even think. I don't know about that one. I mean, because 30 million is roughly what some of the good quarterbacks are making, 30 to 40, I think. But yeah, I haven't seen that anywhere, Malvo. I don't know if that's rumored. But I don't think Justin Fields or his representation would expect to get that much money. But maybe. But somebody said they think they heard 25 to 30 million for 2 years. Now, that's more like it. Like what Lagoon just said. 14 to 15. And again, guys, in the NFL, it's the position. I know we want to look at the player, but it's the position. If you go back a few years and you look at the type of money that Chase Daniels made, Chase Daniel made as a backup, it's the position. So we can't front on Fields and say if he's asking for even the 25 to 30, we can't really front on him and say, man, you ain't getting that. We ain't paying you that. That's the quarterback market, bro. But 2 years at 30 million, I ain't mad at that. That's a bargain in today's NFL. Russell Wilson, on the other hand, might be the 25 to 30 a year. And that's all I'm saying, man. You're in that sweet spot right now where you can risk a year or two to see what you can get out of Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields would be more than happy with 2 years, $30 million, knowing that these 2 years are basically, show me what you got, young boy. Show me what you got. And if you pull that off, we can re-sign you. We can make you our long-term guy, and you still 28 years of age at that point. Because he'll turn 26 this year. That's what you do. That's what you do. But I think that's all I got, man. This turned into a much longer show than I anticipated. I appreciate y'all, man. Every time I cut this thing on, man, y'all give me stuff to talk about. Kept So Fun says, Sim, you threw the Trevor Lawrence report was man, yeah, that. Let me just say this. That would have been very intriguing if that were to happen. And I'm going to speak about it as if it's a fake rumor and anything is a possibility, right? But even I think Lawrence came out and kind of, basically nipped that in the bud. But that would be interesting if the Steelers did something like that. And I would be fully prepared. I'm not going to go into it tonight, but I would be fully prepared to give my full thoughts on that if somehow that actually were to happen. If the Steelers actually sought out Trevor Lawrence and traded for him and he became a Steeler, I would have so much to say about that. Is just from how did we go there? It would be a lot. It would be a lot to break down in that one because that would come out of clear blue sky. Because I would say the same. I would say almost the same thing I would say about Sam Darnold. I don't see how. I'll just say this piece. I don't see how Trevor Lawrence I don't see how he would take it to the next level with the Arthur Smith offense, with the Mike Tomlin philosophy, right? If let's say if Mike Tomlin still doesn't want to attack the middle of the field, they still want to run the ball primarily. They still want to do it out of heavy sets. I don't see how Trevor Lawrence would change much. Now, what would make me say, is if they did that, it would make me think that maybe they're going to change the scheme. So, I know a lot of times people get attached to these names. I don't do that. I look at the name and I say, okay, how do they fit? Would they fit in what we currently do? Would they fit with the mentality of how Mike Tomlin wants to approach it? And those are the questions I go from there. I think Trevor Lawrence is very talented. Listen, guys, y'all remember another game that I was at. that we lost a couple years ago out there at Acrisure. And I watched Trevor Lawrence light us up. But that would be very interesting. Yeah, that would be very interesting if he. That would really shock me. I'll just say that. It would shock me. It would shock me. But all right, man, let me go ahead and get out of here, guys. Hope you all have a wonderful night. Y'all know the routine, man. Please, please, please do your best. Stay healthy out there, man. Stay safe. God bless. Good night. Like always, I thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in. Oh, hold on before I go. Some of you have asked. Some of you guys have said, hey, how can I give some Wonder Bread? You know, I don't really do the YouTube donation thing. Cool. If you would like to donate some Wonder Bread, there's a Cash App option. There's a PayPal option, and that information is in the description of the video. Because I get messages all the time. Hey, man, I like what you're doing. I would love to contribute, but I don't really trust the YouTube. There's Cash App. There's PayPal. I thank you in advance. It's in the description. All right. But outside of that, man, again, you guys make sure y'all do your best to stay safe out there, man. Crazy world we living in. Crazy world we living in right now. Lord have mercy. But all right, man, thank y'all for tuning in, man. God bless. Good night. And until next time, catch you in the next one. Peace.